Hello. So today I want to tell you about the game Illiterati, which is a word game. And all I can say is, wow. The people at Gap Closer Games know that I love a word game, and they sent me this because they have a reprint and an expansion of this game coming to Kickstarter soon. So go check out that page. But holy cow, this is an amazing word game. It is for 1 to 5 players, and there's only one slight difference if you're playing solo, which I love. The only difference is your starting number of tiles. Other than that, the game is identical. So it's not one of those games where you get it and the solo mode feels totally different. So in this game, you are playing over a series of rounds to try and make books. And once everyone has a red book and a blue book, you're going to go on to the final chapter where everyone must complete an objective in the same round. But in between rounds, letters you have left over, if they exceed your library limit, you have to burn them. And you may only burn 3 letters before you lose. This is true in both solo and multiplayer. So you have to be very careful about how you're using your words. They must be 3 letters long. They must be, traditional words, not proper nouns, unless they fit the category that you are trying to fulfill. And then between rounds, you have the evil illiterati that are going to come out and give you some sort of attack, and you must be able to survive their attack. And the more rounds it takes you to complete these books, the more attacks you're going to get. And there are several illiterati characters, so if this same one comes out more than once, he will do all of his attacks on you that turn. So let me show you how it works. So there is a great round tracker card that everybody's going to get. And then there's also some information on the back about the distribution of everything and some clarifications in case you need to see that. So everybody gets that. And then you choose your difficulty level. So you can play on easy, medium, or hard. Obviously, the objectives get a little bit different with the different difficulties. And then here's all of the letter distribution is on here. This is just more clarifications and tells you about the symbols. So what happens is there's going to be a bag full of letters, and most of them are white and have a symbol on them. And so some of your books will require a symbol, some won't. And you get lucky sometimes and you get a blank one that has all the symbols. So this is basically a complete wild. Or some of the harder letters will also be black with all of the symbols, so they at least count towards all of the symbols that way. So there's going to be 3 letters in the center, and this is called your library. And on the regular modes, you don't have to clear your library, and you can always have 3 in there. On the harder modes, that gets less. Everybody then gets 5 tiles to start. So you have your starting tiles. And then if you're playing solo, you will draw 10 tiles. And if you're playing multiplayer, everyone will draw 7. So you get your book first and you just look at this side because this is the final chapter side. So you ignore it. So this tells me I need to make words that are modes of transportation that have at least 3 of these symbols, and I use at least 8 letters to do so. So I can make that as many words as I want. Words have to be 3 letters long, but I can make that using as many words as I would like to. Or I can do it all. It's not an 8-letter word. I just have to use at least 8 letters. So I could do 2 4-letter words, or I could, that makes sense. Let's see what some of the other categories are. Emotions and feelings. You know what? This one's more appropriate because in my day job, I'm a therapist. So we're going to keep that one instead. So I draw now my 10 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I flip everything over, and then there's a 3-minute timer. So I need to try and come up with emotions and feeling words that use 8 letters and at least 3 of those symbols. And I only have 3 of those symbols, including my wild. So let's see, you could feel sorry. And if you can't meet your word that turn, that's okay. Just try and use as many letters as possible so that you don't have letters left over. And you could feel, Nope, I don't have enough letters for that. Let's see. You could feel sorry. And I just need to make another 3-letter word. So you could feel... I want to use I don't love using that as that. But for now, we'll do sad because that would allow me to bind my book. But let's see what else I can make with all these letters because I can only have 3 letters left at the end or I have to burn some. And I don't want to do that. But the rest of my words can be anything at all. Nope. I can't do unyield. I really need some more letters. Let's see. Let's do weary instead. You can feel weary. And don't judge me if I spell stuff wrong because I might. So then I didn't use my other symbol yet, so I need to do that. And I like using a digital timer because I don't have to keep looking at the timer. It'll just beep at me. So like sine is in sine and cosine, and then R-U-I-N. Look at that. I use all of my letters in the time. So we will go ahead and stop the timer. So let's see. Do I get to bind my book? Emotions and feeling words, sorry and weary, both things that you can feel. And oh no, we are going to swap something because I didn't use my last symbol. We will swap the R there with the R. Oh, no, it's all going wrong. So there's sorry. I still had time, so it's okay. So we're going to give myself a little bit of time back. You can sire something and you can run. So I'll have 1 left. Okay. Whew. Okay. So my emotions and feeling words, sorry and weary, which I did. With my 3 symbols, I almost forgot about that. So I meant that. That is great. So we're going to go on to the bookbinding phase. So first we look at, let's see, did our word building phase. I always get this a little bit wrong, the order that you do it. So, and if you're playing with other people, you can be swapping letters with them as long as they agree. So now we will put the unused letters in the library, which is just 1. And we did not exceed our limit of 3, so we don't have to burn anything. If we did exceed our limit of 3, we'd turn them all over, we'd burn 1, and then we would discard down to 3. Everything else would go to the unused bag. Now, we did that. We get to bind our book. So these words go away because I use them. So they go into the discard bag, and I bound my book. So it looks like that. So I keep these letters, and then now the Illiterati come out. So now we draw an Illiterati card, and it says, as a team, discard letters equal to twice the number of R's in play, including in the library. So to twice the number of R's, we have 2 R's. So I have to discard 2. It's only me. So this would be everyone. So I have to discard equal to twice the number of R's. So I have to discard 4 letters. So I'm going to discard this and this, and we'll do an R and an N. So I have to discard 4 letters. And then we would move on to the next phase where I would get a new book, and I would then get, those are blank books. Those are for you to write your own things in. So I would get my new book, which is now blue. I would get my 10 new letters, and I would go again. Again, if you're playing with more people, you can do that. And then once everyone has bound 2 books, then you go on to the final chapter, which is where you draw. You decide if you're going to do a red or a blue, and you do what's on the harder side. So in this case, it says things that fly. You must use 12 letters to make words of things that fly, and you must use 5 of the same symbols. And everyone playing has to do that in the same round in order to consider yourself a winner. So this game is so cool. It plays so great solo. I love that you have the hard decisions of what letters you're going to have to get rid of in the attack, and whatever you bind is gone. So in some ways that's good because I have fewer letters that I have to work with that could potentially go to the library. But at the same time, I have fewer letters to make the words to bind my next book. So if on your turn you can't bind your book, that's fine. As long as you used your letters, you still do everything the same. You just don't bind your book. You still have an attack, and then you work on it again in the next round. So just because you're binding in the easy mode 2 books and then a final chapter, you will sometimes play more than 3 rounds in order to get yourself or everyone to do the things they need to do. So I think Illiterati is absolutely fantastic. This is a top word game for me. This is a top game for me. And I definitely will be checking out the expansion that comes to Kickstarter in March. I believe it's the 17th. So go check out the pre-launch page. Let me know, have you played this? What do you think of it? Give me a like and a follow, and I'll keep bringing you more board game content. Thanks. Bye.